All right, let's jump right in. We're about to go on a journey tracing this incredible evolution that kicks off with something called low code and lands us in a future that's, well, completely supercharged by AI. This is really the story of how we build the software that runs, everything. And believe me, that story is changing faster than ever.
And look, we're not talking about some minor little trend here. Check this out. Gartner predicts that by 2025, that's right around the corner, a whopping 70% of new applications are going to be built using low-code. So yeah, this isn't some niche thing anymore. It's quickly becoming the main event, which, of course, begs the question, what's next?
Because that is the real story, isn't it? What happens when you take the incredible speed of low-code and smash it together with the raw power of traditional pro-level coding? And then, just for fun, what if you toss this massive disruptor, generative AI, right into the middle of it all? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
Okay, so first, let's do a quick level set on why this whole shift is even happening. Traditional coding, it's powerful, for sure, but man, is it slow, it's expensive, and you need these highly specialized developers to do it. The whole promise of low code is super simple. Let's build stuff way faster for a lot less money, and let's open the doors to a much bigger group of people using these more visual drag and drop kind of tools.
Okay, so this is probably what you're thinking, right? This is the number one question, the big myth that we absolutely have to tackle. For the longest time, everyone thought low-code was just for, simple little apps, little tools for one department, but definitely not for the serious, heavy-duty stuff that actually powers a whole business. Well, that whole idea, it's completely outdated. The reality today is a much, much more mature strategy called enterprise low-code. And we're not just talking about simple drag and drop anymore. This is about building seriously powerful applications by blending low-code and pro-code, all wrapped up tight in the kind of serious governance and security that big companies absolutely demand.
And here's exactly how that myth just gets blown to pieces. See, enterprise low-code isn't this one-size-fits-all thing. It's a whole spectrum. Sure, a team might start small with some simple productivity apps, but the whole point is that the system is built to scale, like all the way up to these super complex, mission-critical systems that can literally transform an entire company.
So, what's the engine that's driving all that scalability? It's something called a Fusion app. And this is so important. This is not a fight between low-code and pro-code. Think of it more like a partnership. Fusion apps grab the best of both worlds. You get the speed of visual development and the raw power of custom code. And when you put them together, you create something that is way, way more powerful than either one could be on its own. But you know what they say, with great power comes, well, the potential for a whole lot of chaos, right? If suddenly everyone in the company can build apps, how on earth do you maintain any kind of standards? Or security? How do you keep things from just becoming a total digital Wild West?
The answer is you build an operating system for it, a control center. It's called a Center of Excellence, or a COE for short. And no, it's not about creating more red tape or bureaucracy. It's the exact opposite. It's an engine for enablement. It's that central group that sets the rules of the road, hands out reusable tools and templates, and just makes sure everyone is building stuff in a way that's smart, secure, and actually scalable.
Okay, to really get how a COE works, let's use this great mental model. Just picture a big gear wheel. It's a framework where every single tooth on that gear is a critical piece of making the whole thing run smoothly.
Now, we're not going to go through every single tooth on the gear, but let's hit the big ones. You've got to have a clear vision and strategy. You need architecture and governance. Those are your guardrails. You absolutely 100% need solid compliance and security. And this one's huge. You need standards and reuse so you're not reinventing the wheel every time. When all those gears are meshing and turning together, that's when you can scale safely.
Okay, so get this picture. Big companies are just starting to get their heads around this whole new way of working, with fusion teams and centers of excellence. Things are starting to click. And then, bam, this happens. A tidal wave of disruption called generative AI shows up, and it promises to just rip up the rulebook for software development all over again.
And this new wave, it's got a name. They're calling it vibe coding. The idea behind it is almost ridiculously simple. You just talk to an AI. Seriously, you describe what you want an application to do, just using plain English, and the AI, the large language model, just spits out the code for you. It's a massive shift from actually writing code to just describing what you want.
And the potential impact of that, it's just staggering. Just stop and think about that for a second. We're talking about a future where the most important skill isn't knowing a programming language like Python or Java, but being really good at telling an AI what to do.
The job literally changes from being a coder to being an architect, from a writer to an editor.
But, and this is a huge but, here's the critical flip side. The tools might change, but the fundamental principles of good software engineering, they don't. An AI can spit out thousands of lines of code in a blink of an eye, but if you don't understand the basics, how in the world can you tell if that code is any good? Human judgment actually becomes more important, not less.
So, this all brings us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? How do we take this unbelievable, almost magical speed of vibe coding and somehow jam it into the safe, reliable, governed world that big enterprise systems have to live in? Is it even possible to have that kind of speed and safety at the same time?
Well, the answer just might be a new idea called vibe modeling. This is where it all comes together. It's basically the synthesis of everything we've just discussed. It's an approach that takes that easy, conversational part of vibe coding and hooks it up to the super solid, predictable backend of model-driven development.
So here's how it actually works. Step 1. An expert, someone who really knows the business problem, just describes what they need to an AI. Now, instead of just generating a mountain of code, the AI creates a model of the application, like a blueprint. And this next part is the absolute key. A human expert looks at and validates the model, not the code. That is so much easier and more intuitive. And only after a human gives the thumbs up on that model does the platform generate the final reliable code.
And this really makes the difference crystal clear. Vibe coding is like going straight from a wish to a final product. It can be a bit of a wild card. Vibe modeling, on the other hand, puts the super important middle step in there. It generates the blueprint first. This makes the whole process predictable and reliable. And the best part, it puts the business experts, not just the coders, in the driver's seat to say, yes, that's what we want.
So you can see this isn't some far-off science fiction. The tools, the principles, the frameworks to start moving in this direction, this AI-powered direction, they're already here. It's an evolution you can start today, not some revolution you have to wait for.
And the path forward is actually pretty clear. You just start small, build your first app, get your feet wet, learn the ropes. Then you structure things. You pick some leaders, you start building a whole portfolio of apps. And finally, you scale. That's when you standardize everything and fully roll out that center of excellence we were talking about earlier. It's a simple, step-by-step approach that anyone can follow.
And all of this leaves us with one last, pretty provocative thought to chew on. As these different worlds, low code, pro code, and now AI, all keep crashing together and morphing into something brand new, the skills we're going to need are going to change big time. So the real question for every leader out there is this: is your next hire going to be a developer or an AI supervisor?